first thing that really scared you as a kid? I'm not sure what the other young adults of today would say, but I know as a 90s kid, I could give you a whole list. The potato from Goosebumps, Plumpy from Candyland, when Daddy would wake up and don't wake Daddy, Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers, Bananas in Pajamas, more on them later. And this is all before the age of 10, and these are all things that are not even inherently meant to be terrifying. These are all of the things that I believe not only started building my desire for horror, but actually started building my threshold for what I was afraid of. Hey y'all, it's Nate. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube, and welcome to my Vlogtober special, When Fear Meets Nostalgia. And this is the very first video for this special, so congratulations, you're here on time. As you may have guessed, this month we are taking a nostalgic look back at all things spooky and why kind of being afraid is a core memory if you are a 90s kid. I have loved horror and being afraid ever since I can remember. Now, I don't have children, so I could be wrong on this, but I don't feel like there's really a market or even an availability for children's horror like there was when I grew up. I feel like me and my cousins had a pretty solid mix of children's horror. Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Scooby-Doo, The Nightmare Before Christmas, the list literally goes on and on. And due to that, we had a pretty solid imagination when it came to fear and being scared. We used to build haunted houses at night in my cousin's backyard. We used to tell scary stories in the dark at sleepovers and also play scary games. To this day, I have not finished a game of Bloody Mary because although I am a full-grown adult, I got too scared too young and I'm just not willing to take the chance. I'm just not willing to take the chance. And actually, I have a pretty vivid memory of me and one of my childhood besties watching It, the original, well, is it the original? Yeah, It, the original It, at her 10-year sleepover. And we got to that shower scene and we had to cut it off because we were all, it's like 5 little girls just terrified. To this day, I have not watched the original It. I feel like the 90s and the early 2000s were full of so much horror and our parents were not shy about letting us watch it. And I also think that 90s kids have this unique hive mind share of the Scholastic Book Fair. I don't even know if they still do that. Please tell me they still do that. But I heard the kids can't read these days, so maybe they don't. Now, for all intents and purposes, when I say horror here, I'm really meaning horror, thriller, anything that encompasses horror. So not just gore or anything like that. Everything, the whole genre, including mysteries. There is also this phenomenon that's pretty unique to millennials, and that is this idea of having comfort horror movies. When we watched something like Are You Afraid of the Dark, it was scary because we were kids and that's what it was supposed to be. But you also had this comfort in knowing that, oh, it's cozy, you're meeting with the Midnight Society, they're with all their friends, you know, they're all together, they're not alone. We felt like we were sitting around that campfire. We wanted to sit around that campfire. At least I know I did. I still want to go sit around that campfire. And so because of that, some of us feel subconsciously safe when we're watching horror. Now coming real close, I'm only sharing this with you. The Purge is a comfort movie for me. And now that's probably gonna get me on some type of a list, but I could not be more serious. Specifically The Purge Anarchy. I have seen that movie so many times. I literally watch that movie when I want to have a cozy night in. In fact, I'm gonna watch it tonight because as I was getting into the Halloween vibe, I was like, ooh, I think I want to watch The Purge tonight as a comfort movie. Like, that's what it is for me. Mind you, this is some of y'all's first time meeting me. A lot of children's horror was presented in an anthological manner. Shows like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Scooby-Doo even, Tales from the Crypt Keeper, those are all anthologies. They're loosely based on a story, but every single episode is different. And so it's easier for a child to kind of follow the story because they only have to follow it for 15 or 20 minutes. And you know, that works because attention spans. And attention spans in the 90s were far greater than they are even right now. And the thing about that is, I really love anthologies now. I don't care if it's a horror anthology, a love story anthology, whatever the anthology is about, I love it. And I think it's because I just watched so many anthologies as a kid that now that's kind of my favorite. Like, I love to watch a quick, short and sweet bite of a show. I love the, what do they call them on Netflix? The limited series on Netflix. Love those. If I had to think about why, it's because of all those shows that I just mentioned, and also The Twilight Zone, which is of course a huge anthological series. I started watching The Twilight Zone fairly young, mostly because I didn't have cable and it came on regular TV. It was syndicated. I love the 2002 version of Twilight Zone, and I actually didn't find out until many years later that that wasn't the original, because as a kid I thought that was the only Twilight Zone. I didn't know there was a black and white version. A couple of episodes that always stand out to me from the Twilight Zone reboot are Eye of the Beholder. Love that episode. It terrified me as a kid. It's really kind of creepy now, but now I kind of see like the philosophical meaning behind it. There's also It's a Good Life from the reboot. And then the classic Twilight Zone, of course, had the very classic episode Time Enough at Last. That one terrified me as a kid because I wore glasses and I was like, what if my glasses break and I can't see forever? You know, a kid would think like that. And now as an adult, I'm a huge Black Mirror stan, slasher stan. I also enjoy some episodes of 2-sentence horror stories on Netflix. There is also, I think, a Netflix anthology series that was dropped during Rona that's called Social Distance. And it isn't horror, but it is good. I recommend watching. I thought it was pretty good. All of that to say, I think the closest thing that I've seen to children's horror these days is Creeped Out, which is also a Netflix original, and it is an anthology series. It's geared towards a YA audience, and I actually really enjoyed that series. Some of the episodes were pretty good, so I suggest watching that as well. I also know that Are You Afraid of the Dark got rebooted in 2019, but I haven't seen any of those episodes, so if you have, let me know if it's good. I admittedly am a very nostalgic person. Some horoscope lovers might say it's because I'm a Pisces. Apparently, Pisces are nostalgic and daydreamers. I don't know if that's true, but I know it's true about me. I daydream day in and day out, and I'm super, super, super nostalgic. It could also just be that my preteen and teenage years were so bad that I often reminisce about the time before that when I was a kid and how amazing it was. But that's for a therapy session and not for y'all. But yeah, bear with me because nostalgia and revisiting old works and old pieces of art in this sense is kind of a running theme on my channel. I often revisit older things. This month, obviously, we are talking about nostalgia in particular when it comes to horror, in particular when it comes to the 90s, because that's when I grew up. What are some of your favorite horror movies or TV shows? I'm talking TV shows this month that you remember from your childhood. When I was doing research for this, Courage the Cowardly Dog came up a lot, and I think that was right around the time I didn't have cable. I think I've seen one episode of that show. But now that I know it's a horror, I might check it out more because it sounds kind of cool. So maybe I'll be revisiting Courage the Cowardly Dog at some point. Until then, I would love to know your thoughts on all things nostalgic and horror when it comes to your childhood, even if you didn't grow up in the 90s. Obviously, if anyone, I don't know how many people I have watching me from the 80s, but I'm sure there are some of y'all in there. If y'all have even older or maybe some younger people would you remember watching growing up on. I just don't know that kids horror really exists anymore. So, I mean, not to toot my own horror, but I kind of feel like I grew up in the best time for children's horror. So I would love to hear thoughts on if you have any memories of just being afraid as a kid and just how ingrained in childhood it was, because I know that it was for me. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Outside of that, I am dropping a new Vlogtober special video every single week. If you have watched this video this far, then you are the first to know that my next video is going to be me, of course I already watched, and ranking every single episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark from season 1. So there are 13 episodes. I'm ranking them from worst to best. So I can't wait to see you on that video. Let me know what your favorites were. I was surprised to know there are some pretty bad ones in there. And I love Are You Afraid of the Dark. I fall asleep to it all the time. So can't wait for that video. Can't wait for you to see it. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. And until then, I'll see you next time. Happy Vlogtober. Okay, now let's get into the Are You Afraid of the Dark video. Beauty in yourself. Like if I zoom in a little bit, no, I don't want to go because I like the way that it looks. He's going under the bed. He doesn't care about me. So say it's pretty unique to millennials. Batteries are about to die. This is not a test.